Hello, I'm Catherine Waddell, owner of Dreams Woven Support Network. I'm extremely excited that you are here tonight on this call. I want to say thank you for you investing in yourself. I want you to pay close attention. We only have 30 minutes, and it will go fast. I will leave 5 minutes at the very end for comments or questions. Please be prepared with your comment or question at that time. So we're looking at, and this is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know we have people calling in from different time zones, but 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time that I'm looking at. So at about 8:25 Eastern Standard Time, we will be opening up for questions. And I just want you to be prepared while I'm talking. If you think of something, just write it down so you don't forget it. I don't want you to try to remember it because I want you to listen, write the question down, and then you can have it for me at the end, okay? We are going to cover 3 things during this call: the excuses we make for why we are not in our business, working on our purpose, or why we are not any further, the frustrations that we encounter when we do try to pursue our purpose, and last but not least, the plateaus for those people who are in business and you are going along, things were great, and all of a sudden it's just like you're coasting. You may not be losing ground, but you also may not be gaining ground, okay? These topics came to me during a time of reflection, and I thought this to myself: I wish someone would have shared some insight with me so I could have gone a little further along my journey, successfully. We're going to make some mistakes. We're going to slow ourselves down. However, there's some things that we do and we don't realize we're doing them. So I said, well, since it's impressed upon me, and I had one of those I wish it would have happened for me kind of moments, I wanted to share this with other people who are either considering, should I take a chance on myself, or should I continue to take a chance on myself if I'm already in business, all right? So we're going to get started with the excuses that we make. Again, make sure that you are in a quiet place. The excuses that we make is that I have kids to feed, I got bills, life happens, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough knowledge, I can't get started, nobody will help me, and the list can go on. That's not an all-inclusive list that I just gave, but it's an excuse nonetheless. Anything that you're doing to tell yourself no is an excuse. You can do anything. You may have read stories after stories of someone going from rags to riches, and they're now this multi-billion-dollar worth person. They are on the cover of Fortune magazine. They are now, sitting on Oprah's couch, or they're on these major networks, so they're being interviewed, and people are following them and repeating the quotes that they put out. But you say, that couldn't be me. That's an excuse. It could be you. It is you. Once you decide to give yourself no more excuses. You may say, well, I don't have enough money. Well, necessity breeds invention. I'm sure a lot of us have heard that quote. If you ever needed anything in your regular life, just you're getting dressed in the morning and your belt breaks, what do you do to keep your clothes up? Either you put on something else, or you say, I absolutely have to wear these pants. This is part of my uniform. You find a way to keep your pants up. Necessity breeds invention. You either put a safety pin in the side of those pants. You may put a string around your pants. You will figure a way out to keep your clothes intact without looking completely crazy. And later on during the day, it may become a joke to you, and later on it may become a fashion statement, and someone says, you know what, that person really has great ideas in a situation where you could have gotten frustrated and irritated and had a bad day. You chose to have a good day, and you chose to find another way to keep your pants up. Let's say you needed lotion. You just think of anything that you do on a regular basis. You needed socks for that day. You might have opted to not wear socks. It's not that cold. You always find a way to solve an everyday solution. That's the same thing you're going to do with your purpose. You're not going to make any excuses. Just recently, there's a group that I'm a part of, a creative writing group, and I shared this with them. I want to go to this group. I need their energy. I need to be with them. I know this about myself. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's too cold outside. Maybe the weather's too bad, and maybe it's ice on the ground. Well, I hadn't been outside, so I don't know. I was making excuses. I was making excuses for not going to something that I absolutely needed, like I needed breath. So what I want to know for myself is, why did I make those excuses? Well, once I got to that meeting, I found out that my resistance that's built up inside of me, allowing me to make those excuses, kept me from getting what I absolutely needed if I would have given into it. Yes, you need to sit down and complete a paper, and you think of everything in the world you need to do other than that paper. So when we're thinking about living our purpose, when we're thinking about living our passion, what we do is we make excuses for why it can't be us. We make excuses for why, well, that worked for Tyler Perry. Okay, well, that was Steve Jobs. That was everybody but me. It can't be me. It's not in the cards for me to have this thing. I'm just going to dream about it. Better yet, I've talked about it lively. Oh, if I was given the opportunity, for years you've talked about this, if I was given the opportunity to start my own business, I'd do it this way, and I would improve this system, and I'd do this, and I'd do that. And once you are called to the carpet and someone says, well, let's take all those excuses out, I've given you every resource that you need. If it's money you need, you got it. If it's transportation you need, you got it. If it's a building you need, you got it. And you, more than likely, because you're used to making excuses and it feels good and warm and fuzzy and it seems progressive to make these logical excuses, you're stuck like a deer caught in headlights when someone takes away all those excuses and gives you space to do your event, a car to do your transportation service, gives you all the money that you need for whatever resource you're going to need with your business, okay? It's happened to me more and more and more times than I can imagine to count or even wish to count over the past 4 years. I said, okay, well, I want to do a TV show, but I don't have a studio. There's a studio that you can go to. You have a membership. You just have to learn how to share time with other people. Okay, what else excuse can I make? I want to do something on location. Well, someone says, well, I have a space. You can do it here anytime you want to. Oh, okay. I want to have a studio audience. They said, okay, you can have a studio audience. These are the guys. Everything I put up as an excuse, someone knocked it down. So either I'm going to move or I'm not. And if you are careful and pay attention when you make these excuses, there's an answer for that excuse if you choose to embrace it. I'm not just going to say you, me too. We spend a lot of time running from that thing we say that we were called to do, that thing you know you do. You do it for free. Oh, I don't know how to charge people. I might charge too much, or I might not charge enough, or I just may not do it right. Well, I do this for everybody because I love to do it, and I feel like I'm cheapening the gift if I put a price tag on it. That's an excuse. No more excuses. No more excuses. No more choosing to live miserable. No more being comfortable and being miserable because you have not lived your purpose. No one's giving you a chance. The space, the opportunity hasn't been there. Please understand, life is going to keep happening. It's just going to keep happening. It is. You're going to have to feed the kids, and somebody's going to get sick, and somebody's going to die, and somebody's going to get married, and somebody's going to have a baby, and that somebody may very well be you, but do you stop because of that? Oh, you fell in love. Now you're not doing your business. Stop it. Oh, you had a heartbreak. Now you can't move forward. You're going to always have an excuse to make you feel warm and fuzzy, to make it seem legitimate, and you may even have a crowd of people that says, you know what, I understand. If I was going through what you're going through, if I had that happen to me, I would have to put my passion on the back burner too. So attend to life and never get back to what you were doing. You're going to have people that make you feel comfortable with not moving forward. When you know you're really going in the right direction is when you have people fighting against you. Oh, they're reminding you of the excuses that you left behind. You know you have kids to feed, right? You know your rent is late, right? You know you have a car note that you need to pay, right? You know they're repossessing your car. Do you know you don't have any furniture in your house? Do you know you barely have enough food? They're going to remind you of every excuse you could possibly make when you decide to walk away from the excuses and live the life that you're supposed to. If you were born to do a particular thing, I want to know, why aren't you doing that? And try to explain it to me without giving me an excuse. I'm going to give you some more time to think about that one, okay? We're going to move to the next one, the frustrations. You've decided, I'm going to take a chance on myself. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough other resources. I don't have enough knowledge. I just don't, and I have plenty of excuses. And now I'm frustrated. I want to get started. I want my business to grow. There are some things that realistically are going to frustrate you, because if you're new in business and you've only been doing business a year, maybe 2 years, and you say, well, oh gosh, I want to be making $1 million in 2 years. You're going to be frustrated because that's not a realistic mile marker unless you just have something that's coming off the shelves like nobody's business. But what you're also going to face is if it goes up fast, it's going to come down fast. You're still going to be frustrated, okay? So you want to put some measurable mile markers there. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that you couldn't have a Tickle Me Elmo effect, but where's Tickle Me Elmo now? They had that Black Friday catastrophe years ago. Tickle Me Elmo still has to be creative. It sold like wildfire at that time. Now they have to get creative and go back to the drawing board and see, how can I keep selling these Tickle Me Elmos? They had a wildfire moment during one holiday season. It has not hit like that again. Study other businesses that have been successful. Pace yourself. If you have ever studied track stars, even in middle school or high school, the long distance runner cannot run like the sprinter. You have to pace yourself. Long distance runner knows, I'm going to be running a mile or 2 or 3 miles. I cannot start out the gate running fast. I'm going to have to plan for this whole entire journey. How am I going to keep the pace, plan to win this race, and not give out, halfway through? So pace yourself. In 1 year, what would you like to do? Oh, I would like to make this amount. And if you make that amount and exceed that amount, that's great. But if you don't make that amount and you feel like, I should have it, I deserve it, I expect that I should have, you're going to be frustrated. You're trying to build a team and people keep falling away. Somebody comes, they're not really committed, they're not loyal, then they go off and they do their own thing. I just can't build a team. I'm frustrated. Nobody will help me. You're back to the excuses again. What happens in frustration a lot of times is that we did not look at it realistically. Now, it's your dream. Dream, sky's the limit. I say dream so big that you are even willing to be in this business long after you're dead. Duke Energy, if anybody is in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, Duke Energy is more than 100 years old. It started out 3 guys. They started this business together. They kind of fell away. It ended up being the Duke family business. He left it to his one child. She's gone on too. Duke Energy is still around. If you want to have lights in the city of Charlotte, you're going to get it from Duke Energy. And they're gone. They're dead and gone. But their legacy lives on. So if your purpose that you're called to, you believe, could outlive you, then don't worry about the Tickle Me Elmo effect early on. You may have several Tickle Me Elmo effects throughout the legacy that you're building. But that is not going to be the norm. What can you keep up with? You may get really excited. I'm going to do this event. I'm going to do this event every week, and then you get burned out 9 months later. What happens? Can your business run if you get sick and you're not there? Have you created a system that's going to make this thing run like a well-oiled machine, whether you're there or not? If the answer is no, then you get burned out. You're going to be frustrated. These are all things you will encounter. These are normal. However, when you're met with these frustrations, as opposed to backing up and saying, you know what, they were right. I shouldn't have done this. It wasn't going to last. You pace yourself, and then you reflect. You get around people that are entrepreneurial in their mindset, not your 9-to-5 friends. Even if you're a 9-to-5 person right now, do not get advice from your 9-to-5 friends. They don't know the journey. They don't know the journey. As much as they like you, love you, admire you, they don't know the journey. They cannot give you the advice that's going to sustain you when a storm hits and you're frustrated. They're not going to be there to make you do a turnaround away from those excuses. They're going to, in fact, actually, come on in. I told you couldn't do it. I told you, you remember you got kids to feed, right? Okay, well, as they're reminding you of the excuses, they're pulling you back in and pulling you away, and it's a delay. Another thing that will cause you to be frustrated is because you talked about starting this cookie business. And I'm making this stuff up. I don't know anybody with a cookie business. You're going to have this cookie business, and you say, okay, well, this week I'm going to try a new recipe. How fast can 7 days slip through your fingers before you have not done the first thing? Really fast. You look back, 7 days are gone, and you say, oh, well, I'll do it next week. Well, you keep saying that, and 52 weeks go by. And allegedly, you got a fan page on social media, and you're talking to people about the purpose. You haven't done anything with it, but you're talking about it. And people are waiting. Yeah, that time I came over for dinner, you made some delicious cookies. You could have a business with this. And you say, yeah, I'm going to do that, but you don't even throw up a fan page. But you criticize other people for having a business. You criticize other people for following through. You criticize other people for starting and stopping. But you haven't even started, and you're frustrated. Well, if I would start my cookie business, I would do better than that, but you don't. Criticism is another thing that creates frustration, okay? You don't want to criticize other people. Pay attention to yourself, reflect on yourself, and in fact, if there's another person in the cookie business, ask them, can you help them? Maybe you really need a little more knowledge, and instead of having to pay to go back to school, maybe you can partner with them. You can be an apprentice to them. Your ego, oh my goodness, your ego will cause you also to get frustrated because you think you're so great. You think you're so great, and you may be really great, but you're not so great that you're too big to help anybody, too big to need help, and you're not so great that 1 year is going to be like 1,000 years for your business. It's not. It's not. Okay? You need to grow. You need to pace yourself. You need to take time. You need to continuously get educated. The community colleges offer classes all the time, and a lot of times they're free. You may go back to school and get a degree. That's perfectly fine. You may work under someone. You may volunteer with someone who can give you the hands-on experience that you need. Don't let your ego be a reason that you have any delays in your business. Now, all of this stuff sounds great and grand. These are things I wish someone would have told me a long time ago. You're great, but you're not that great. Don't believe the hype. The minute you buy into the hype about how good your cookies are, how good your business is, how good your customer service is, if you're working 9 to 5 and one of your coworkers say, you know what, you could run this place, don't believe the hype. Because the minute you take a chance on yourself, it's a whole different world. So prepare to get around people who understand that journey so you can avoid some of the frustrations. You're going to have some days when you feel like I didn't do my best. You're going to have those days. However, you're going to go out with some education, some knowledge, some common sense education is what I'm talking about. You're going to say, you know what, I've heard this somewhere. I'm going to have some days like this. It's okay. So you know what, I'm going to reflect. I'm going to take some notes, the lesson that I need to learn. If I can get it today, I'm going to write that down in my journal of things concerning my business. I'm going to call a mentor. You need a mentor. You need multiple mentors for different things. You need someone who can help you with the startup business. You need to know the right organizations to be a part of. You need to be connected to the right energy sources. Okay? Now, I am going to stop just for a moment before we go into the last thing, which is the plateau. And I want you, if you have a question or comment at this time, to press *6. Just say your first name only and give me your comment or your question really quickly. If you think you're talking to me and I'm not responding, you may have not pressed mute on your phone. If we don't have any comments or questions, I will go on.
Catherine, I have a question.
Who's that?
It's Denisha Ford. Hey, lady.
Denisha, hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm ready to say hey to everybody else before getting your answer. Hey, lady. My question is about events. You touched on hitting up events. And me personally, I'm an introvert, and I am very cautious about what scene I step onto. And anytime I step out of the house, it's going to be business related. And how do you decipher, how do you determine what is a good networking event for you? I know if it's like a little club party, that's not me. If it's somebody promoting AIDS awareness, I definitely want to be on the scene. But I don't have too many of those that are presented to me. So how do you determine where you go to hand out your business cards and be seen and converse and meet new people? How do you determine that?
Okay, for you, because you know specifically you're probably more in the nonprofit realm of where you want to be with people. You need to connect with the Chamber of Commerce, and that's in anybody's city. They have things, even if you don't pay the annual fee to be a member, there are a lot of non-member things that you can find out about, but the Chamber of Commerce would be your place to go to find the kind of places that would meet your needs as far as your business, your target audience, and the type of crowd you want to be associated with. Also look to like the bigger organizations, like the United Way. The United Way is a big umbrella for a lot of smaller nonprofit organizations. So be intentional about, okay, I know my target audience would be organizations that because all of the nonprofits at some point, because they know that this would get people's attention, are going to have those kind of events, whether it's AIDS awareness, breast cancer awareness, domestic violence awareness. Somewhere, somehow, they're going to try to plug in if they're smart. So you want to get to a place like Chamber of Commerce or United Way and just ask, hey, which organizations do you recommend? And they'll gladly point you in the right direction for that. Now, if it's more of a smaller event, you see something on Facebook or social media and someone's doing an event, you're not sure, you don't really know that person, you're not sure because they're having it at a club event, a club venue or something like that, I would watch that person's behaviors as far as how consistent they are. I'll see what others are saying about them, and this is one of those reference checks because as an entrepreneur, no one's necessarily submitting a resume to you for you to go and call, 3 previous employees. You just kind of watch that person and see if this person's character is something that you want associated with your name. So those are 2 suggestions on how you can know the right places to go for your business and your brand.
Okay.
Does that help a little bit?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, is there anyone else that has a question or comment right now? And press *6. If not, I'm going to go into the last point because I'll open it up completely for questions in just about 3 minutes. All right, I'm going to move on to the plateau. Let's say you're in your business, you found your niche, your target audience, and everything's going well. You are making sales. PayPal is dinging. If you got WePay, however people are paying you, you have a consistent flow of funds coming in your business. However, you hit a plateau. You don't feel any growth. You're getting bored. Now, that might be a good problem. Some of you on the line might say, that's a good problem to have. I got a consistent flow of money, and I'm bored. Well, when you're an entrepreneur, you're looking to create, and maybe you got one thing that's just working. Don't touch it. It's not broke. Don't fix it. But you wanted to go and try something else, and it's not quite working. You can't seem to get away from this one thing. Maybe they know you as the party promoter, but now you want to be a corporate business event planner. And people remember you from the nightlife, but you just can't seem to get over to the day life, corporate world, corporate account, and you're trying to make this transition. Remember, there are cycles. There's always cycles. You figured out what to do for the party promotions, the nightlife, and you got that going. Revisit your first work. What did you do? What lessons did you teach yourself along the way? Go back and see, okay, well, when I was frustrated with creating the events for the nightlife, what did I do? How did I solve? Who did I talk to? What did I study? What did I change? And believe it or not, you, without thinking, have created a system that will help you duplicate the next business that you're going to go into, because there's a mindset that you need to have. That you're going to be met with some opposition until you can smooth it out and you can fix it and you can make that work. Until you can do a survey to see if people enjoy or will they buy into this. And even if people tell you word of mouth, oh, yeah, if you make them cookies, if you put that event together, I'll come, they probably are not coming. It's okay. You want to get a true sample market. Don't ask your friends and don't ask your mom. They love you. They don't want to hurt your feelings. And actually, they don't know how to support you. That is the purpose of Dreams Woven Support Network. My mom told me to go live my dream. She did not know how to tell me to live my dream, though. My mom is a nurse. She works for someone else. She's worked for someone else all my life. She's done private duty cases, but she has not encountered the struggles of what it's like when you have to find another client. She just goes back to the office and says, okay, this case ended. I need a new case. That's not always how it works. I mean, you need you're the human resources office now. If the case ends, you come back to you and say, hey, I lost that case, or that case ended, or this patient passed away, I got to find a new case. You're back now looking for another client. Because when you're working your craft, a lot of times you're not still marketing. You're working in your business. Another reason for a plateau would be the lack of marketing. McDonald's, in my opinion, does not need to continue to market. Coca-Cola, in my opinion, does not need to continue to market, but they do. And they spend lots of money every year to continue to buy stuff to continue to market stuff that we're already buying. Okay? Walmart, I don't think needs to do any marketing because we're constantly in there. I don't care if you go into Walmart and you say, I'm going into Walmart. Now they have the grocery department. I'm going to go in. I'm going to get me some sandwich meat and some grapes for lunch tomorrow. You will find yourself in the clothing department, in the toy department, even if you don't have kids, and you will have picked up some other stuff you didn't need to pick up, or at least that's what you told yourself going in, right? So I don't think they need to market, but they do. So all of these bigger companies out here have the budget, according to us on the line, I'm sure would agree. They have the money to market. So what do I do as the low man on a totem pole? How do I market? You get creative. You have a need, you get creative. If you feel like you've gotten stuck, if you feel like things have plateaued, if somebody has come to you and asked for you to solve a problem and you just hadn't gotten around to it, maybe that's your end to come off that plateau. You have a constant drip. Don't you go over there and mess that up. A lot of times what people will do, things are boring around here. We need to shake it up a bit. You shake it up, and then you get rid of the constant drip. Don't touch that. The only thing you're going to go back to that thing that's working in your business is find out what were the lessons that you learned along the way before it became this consistent system that worked for you. Okay? It's 8:27. Please unmute your phone if you have a comment or question at this time.
Hi, Catherine. It's LaCrush.
Tell me your name. Who's that?
LaCrush.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. I just have one question. Did you create this this call for me? Because it's like everything you pointed on, I fall under.
Am I talking about you? I might be.
You might have it in mind. Yeah, you might have
I might be. It needed to be said.
Yeah, like, that's me. Okay, yeah, that's me too. Like, everything you pointed on. But
I want to know, Crush, since I have you right now, and if there's anybody else on the line, if you can explain to me why you are not further along in your purpose without giving me excuse. Can you explain it to me?
That's funny because I was just sitting here thinking that too. Like, I just, you know what it is, like, towards the end, you said, you know, if you was one thing and you try to do something else, that's me totally. I started Phone Fantasy Radio, which is my online network, my online radio network, and then I was doing events. I was doing adult parties. You know, and I was putting my effort into that. You know, it was successful. It was good and everything. But then I wanted to ease back into developing Phone Fantasy Radio more. And honestly, for the last, I'm going to say, 2 or 3 years, I have been putting my all into it, but I just can't get my footing right. And I never thought to go back and look at, because I just thought that I had it together. You know, I did the party, so that was going to be successful. Like, this is going to be successful. And I get it from people, like, you know, they think my shows are wonderful. It's great. I get all the nice feedback. You know, even when I was doing my parties, I used to get feedback from my shows. But to me, I just don't know if I'm where I should be.
I'll go back and revisit what worked with your other business, and I promise you created a system. Absolutely. We have less than a minute left. Is there anyone else that has a question? Or if you're willing to tell me why you are not further in your business without giving me an excuse.
No.
Press *6. If you think you're talking to me and I'm not responding, you may still have me on mute. All right, what I'm going to do is wrap this up because I honor your time. If you have any further questions for me, you have your ticket that you registered for. Oh, who's that?
Catherine, can you hear me?
I can. Who's that?
This is Kelly Joyner.
Hey, Kelly, how are you? I tell you guys, you know, none of you can follow instructions. Give me just your first name.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Kelly.
All right. I was going to respond to your question of why I'm not further along without giving you an excuse.
Without giving me an excuse. I can't wait. Go ahead.
The main reason is because I've done nothing but make excuses.
Oh, okay, that's it. Put a period right there.
I mean, serious. When you were talking about the excuses, I was like, oh, yeah, I say that. That is truly why I'm not further along. I'm coming along, but I'm often reminded of, you know, I make excuses. And the reason I make the excuses, however, though, is because of fear. And it's the fear. You know, people always say your fear of failing. And it could be also that, but it could also be the fear of succeeding because you don't really know what's next. And I think it's trying to see too far down the line to instead of just taking that first step.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have anything else? 'Cause I think I heard a male voice that was trying to brave us.
No, that's all I wanted to say.
Before we get up there. Okay, thank you. Press *6 for me. Is there anyone else? Because I do want to honor your time. All right. I am going to wrap up. You were given a ticket when you called in, when you registered, and you can respond to that. It'll go straight to my email, and I'll get it, okay? So if you have any questions that I didn't answer on this call, please, please, please just send me a message. I'll gladly email you back. Most of you think I don't sleep anyway, so if you really believe that, go ahead and email me so I can answer any questions you have. There was one question that someone asked on the group page: what are the best social media sites to market on? I'm going to say Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter hands down, because I got friends on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and if I don't post it, they'll ask me why I haven't posted, and when I post, they will repost, and they'll tell a friend, and they'll tag me in it. Those are the best social media: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and friends. Okay, that's my quick answer to that. We got to get out of here. You will get this playback, so look for this information via email in just a little while. You all have a wonderful night, and thank you for your time and taking a chance on you.